centro della città, quindi locale molto molto rinomato, molto molto elegante, di altissimo livello. Nel 2005 diventa il presidente dell'American Cocktail Museum a New Orleans. Dopodiché diventa partner e consulente per il BAR, il Beverage Alcohol Resource Group, e ha vinto tantissimi premi a livello internazionale, tra cui nel 2015 Who's Who in Food and Beverage in America. Immaginatela un pochino come la Hall of Fame, ok? Diventa docente Barsmarts, che all'oggi è forse tra le scuole di miscelazione, di bartending più rinomate al mondo. Sono dei corsi molto molto intensi, molto molto avanzati. Scrive 2 libri, nel 2002 The Craft of the Cocktail e nel 2009 The Essential Cocktail. Onorato di poter scambiare 2 chiacchiere con lui, Mr. Dale DeGroff.
Ciao.
So yeah, I basically explained a little bit about what you do, what you've achieved, which will probably take the best part of an hour to explain. And I think first and foremost, what ties us all together is the fact that we were bartenders, right?
Yes, exactly. I think maybe the style of bartending in Italy, because many of your training schools are the hotel schools, is a little more formal than the kind of training that we, especially I'm 71 years old. When I was a young bartender in the early 1970s, you were dealing with a profession which was not highly esteemed because we still had the hangover, if you will, of so the people saw the bartending profession as kind of tainted by the gangster world of the Prohibition days.
I can imagine. I'm just going to translate that. Il signor DeGroff appunto dice che quando ha iniziato lui a lavorare a 21 anni, sicuramente la tipologia di miscelazione che c'era all'epoca non era così avanzata come oggi. Sicuramente in qualche maniera anche condizionata da quello che era il mondo gangster, appunto fine anni 70. Excellent, wow, what a story.
A lot of young people, they didn't see this back then as a real legitimate profession. So, and not only that, the post-Prohibition years, they didn't have real good training schools like hotel training schools, only on the culinary side of the business, not on the bar side of the business. So what the role that I played when I went to work for Joe Baum, my mentor, first at a small fine dining restaurant with a French theme, and then, of course, the Rainbow Room. The role that I played in a large part was to kind of make it okay to be a bartender again. Not only okay, but because I was getting some publicity, both electronic and in the press. Because people were seeing a guy at a very high-end place, the Rainbow Room. They were saying, oh, this is good. Maybe it's good to be a bartender again. Maybe I can do that. Maybe I can become a professional. So the profession had more weight because people were seeing it in a different light, finally, than the light they saw it in Prohibition,
Okay. Quindi il signor DeGroff appunto spiega il fatto che comunque inizialmente la miscelazione il bartending non veniva visto come una professione legittima, non veniva riconosciuta. Purtroppo è un problema che in alcuni casi abbiamo tutt'oggi, penso, e dove la formazione arrivava soltanto da situazioni di alberghi, comunque di locali di altissimo livello, affinché appunto iniziò a lavorare al Rainbow Room, che era, come dicevo prima, un locale molto molto esclusivo, e in qualche maniera ha trasmesso la voglia di voler fare questo lavoro. Chi lo vedeva diceva, ok, questo è una cosa che mi potrebbe piacere imparare, approfondire, fare. Excellent, fantastic.
Even so, by the way, I'm wearing my, in honor of my dear friend Gaz Reagan, Ardent Spirits.
Oh, awesome. Many rest in peace.
My friend, we just lost Gaz, and this is the
unfortunately,
another great bartender who understood the 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 zeitgeist, if you will, the philosophy of the whole idea, really going back to people. And I respect him so for that. He's the first one who used the word mindful bartending. He created a word just for the craft community called cocktailian, which we're still using to describe bartenders who have a different vision. They're interested in the guests, but they're also interested in learning and growing in the profession. And so I think there is now in the new millennium, with this younger and with the opportunities of the internet, you can be anywhere in the world. You can have an amazing education if you are curious and you search and you read. So it's a much different world.
Il signor DeGroff sta spiegando, appunto, ha voluto omaggiare il signor Reagan Gas, che purtroppo è passato a miglior vita di recente, ci ha lasciato. Il suo modo di vedere la miscelazione io ho avuto la fortuna di conoscerlo, un personaggio fantastico, veramente una persona bellissima, che in qualche maniera aveva una visione molto molto diversa da quelli che erano i bartender della sua epoca, o comunque del suo livello di carriera, insomma. E quindi appunto il signor DeGroff sta spiegando il fatto che sicuramente nel nuovo millennio queste cose sono cambiate tantissimo, la possibilità di apprendere, la possibilità di leggere, la possibilità di approfondire determinate cose. L'internet si può essere in qualsiasi parte del mondo in una frazione di secondo, quindi sicuramente le cose sono cambiate molto da questo punto di vista.
And there's all kinds of bars. We all know that. In New York City alone, you have your neighborhood bars and your sports bars and your high cocktail lounges and your hotel bars and your speakeasies. So the world of the bar is so interesting. When I came to New York, I realized very quickly that really life, because this city is so big and because the apartments are so small, that people would gravitate to their neighborhood bar and find their extended family in these places, and they would live in these bars, and it became clear to me that life happens in the bars in New York City.
Assolutamente, sì. Appunto il signor DeGroff dice New York è una di quelle città che è molto molto grande, dove ha una varietà di locali, il bar del quartiere, a differenza del cocktail bar di altissimo livello, e di conseguenza molte delle persone che abitano a New York andavano a cercare il loro bar preferito, che poteva essere appunto il bar del quartiere, a differenza del cocktail bar. Excellent, sir. So, may I ask you a couple of questions, if that's okay with you? Fantastic. So whenever we have a fantastic group of staff, like I said, who I will say hello to. So we gathered around, obviously virtually, because we can't do so physically at the moment, to figure out what sort of questions we'd like to ask Team Cocktail. So one of the questions that we came up with was, what's your inspiration for the book writing? How do you come about finding inspiration to write your books?
To tell you the truth, my inspiration and it goes back to my mentor, Joe Baum. That's B-A-U-M, Baum. Joe, frankly, was a genius. He came up in the 1950s. He went to the famous culinary school, college in upstate New York. The name is escaping me right now. Cornell Hotel and Restaurant School. Okay. And Cornell College is much bigger. They have an agricultural college. It's a very big university. But Joe studied in the hotel school, and this was after the war, because he was in World War II. He served in World War